I recognize that the problem is the 23% benefit cut that you keep bringing up, but the solution that Republicans put forward is a 23% benefit cut. So that's not a solution. It's just the problem sooner.
Boy, that was not an answer. The Social Security Trust Fund goes away by 2034, at which point benefits are cut automatically. I'm not for that. I'm trying to keep that from happening. I don't want that to happen. But if we don't come up with a bipartisan solution, that's what will happen. That's what you're for. If you oppose bipartisanship, what solution do you have to actually solving Social Security on a bipartisan basis?
We would ask millionaires and billionaires to pay the same rate as the rest of Americans and not cut one penny of benefits.
I understand what your answer is. This is back to the think tank versus the do tank. What would you do to get bipartisanship? How are you going to get bipartisans to work together?
I would like the American people who bipartisanly, overwhelmingly don't want to see their benefits cut. I would like Republican politicians to have to answer to them.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I want to talk about this $2,400 raise for Social Security. Okay, so we saw Senator Bernie Sanders come out and talk about this raise for Social Security. Now, I watched the hearing. They had a hearing on Thursday where they talked about the Social Security issue. Okay, and this is actually, I'm going to show clips of this, more clips of this, because this was a great discussion. You had a panel, and then you had the senators asking the panel different questions, and I think it was a really good dialogue. Now, we know Senator Bernie Sanders has this plan, okay? And so you have Democrats wanting to move one way when it comes to this $2,400 raise for Social Security, amongst other things. There's some other things in the bill. If you guys want to know more about what's in this bill, I posted a video a couple of days ago. I'll post a link up here so you guys can take a look at that video, and it will explain exactly what Senator Bernie Sanders is proposing. And so what I want to show you today is I want to show you Senator Mitt Romney. So he's going to be talking about what he thinks should happen when it comes to the fix for Social Security, right? Because we know 12 years, 13 years, whatever, they keep moving that deadline. But when it comes down to it, we know by 2034, 2035, the Social Security Trust Fund, just the trust fund, will run out of money, which would mean people receiving Social Security benefits would see a cut of about 23%. So that is the talk right now. So I want you to hear what Senator Mitt Romney has to say about this whole situation. And then I'm going to show some more videos, probably, I don't even know. I mean, this hearing was about an hour and 30 minutes. So there's a lot of different clips that I can take from this. But I want you guys to hear this. Okay, I want you to hear how these politicians are talking about this, and so you'll know kind of what's going on. Not everyone has the time to sit down and watch an hour and a half hearing on Social Security, and I know it's probably not the most exciting thing to watch. That's why I want to break it up in little clips, and we can discuss what these politicians are talking about. So that's what we're going to do on this video. But first off, on this channel, we talk about money and the financial struggles that Americans are facing today. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so before we get started, I do want to let you know again, I like to remind you guys of this just so you know, I still see people in the comment section that are trying to impersonate me, okay? And so if you see my picture, you see my name, make sure just whatever they're saying, do not listen to that. Disregard it, because they're asking for money, send money to my Cash App, go to my WhatsApp, all that. So just make sure that you don't fall for that. And it's unfortunate that they're still there, and I don't really know what the solution is, because every time I see them, I block them. And they just keep coming back. Okay, so I don't know what the fix is. I will be talking with YouTube in a couple of days, and maybe I can bring this up to them. I know that everybody's talking about this, but the reality is that it continues to happen. Okay, so we're going to take a look and a listen to Senator Mitt Romney. Now, I am going to interrupt during this video, so I'm going to let you know right now. I've already watched the video, so I know what he's going to be talking about, but there are a lot of different things in here that we really need to pay attention to. So here we go.
Thank you. I've got a mayor here waiting to meet with me, so I appreciate Senator Scott letting me jump ahead of him here. I do appreciate that. When I lost my election for president, a number of people came to me and said, what do you think about forming a think tank? It seems like failed politicians are anxious to stay involved in the process of government, and think tanks are the way to go. I don't know how many hundreds, thousands of think tanks we have. And I said, I don't think the problem in Washington is trying to come up with the answers. I don't think we need people to solve for numbers, because there's so many people that are doing that. The problem is how to get something done. We don't need more think tanks. We need more do tanks. How do you get something done? How do you get something accomplished? And Senator Sanders makes a wonderful plea, which many people agree with, the need for helping our seniors and providing better benefits for them and so forth. But recognize that his bill has no chance whatsoever of receiving a single Republican vote in either house. So it will not be passed. And he knows that. As a matter of fact, you all recognize that given the fact that for any legislation of scale to be passed requires Republicans and Democrats to work together. That's the nature of our democracy. We have a 50-50 Senate. Half of the American people voted for Republicans, half voted for Democrats. To get something done requires bipartisanship. So any proposal that's brought forward that is only supported by one party is a messaging bill. It's a campaign bill. It may be a fundraising bill. But one thing it's not is about to become a law.
Okay, so we're going to stop right there, and I just want to talk about this real quick, what he was talking about, the 50-50 Senate. He's right, there's a 50-50 Senate. But guess what? In order to get something passed, you need more than 51 votes, because if we were looking at this and saying, okay, this is a true democracy, then it would be 51 votes, would be in the majority, and then the bill would be passed, right? But that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at 60 votes. So you need 10 Republicans to come on board, not just one Republican. So if we want to look at it and say, okay, yeah, we have a 50-50 Senate, get rid of the filibuster. You get rid of the filibuster, and then yes, you have one Republican come on board, that's 51 votes, and the bill's passed. Okay. Now we do have the vice president. So if they can get 50 votes, you have the vice president that would break the tie. So Democrats would be able to move something that way as well. But don't say that this is that we're in a situation where we have a 50-50 Senate. So the people have spoken. Yeah, they've spoken. 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans. You only need one Republican to make the majority. They have spoken in that sense. And if you really want to go by the Constitution, well, yeah, you don't even need that one Republican, because you have the tiebreaker, the vice president as a tiebreaker. So the people have spoken, and they've said, okay, we want to balance it, but we know that vice president comes in and breaks the tie. So if we can get all the Democrats on board, we don't even need Republicans. Okay, so when he's saying what he's saying there, he's being disingenuous. When he's saying it needs to be bipartisan, that's what the people have said. The people have spoken by voting for 50 Democrats and 50 Republicans. That's not true. And he knows that's not true. He knows how the process works, but he's being misleading by saying this. Okay, let's go ahead and get back.
So if you want to have a law, you have to see if there's a way to get people working together. Now, our challenge with Social Security, like Medicare and the Highway Trust Fund, is exemplified by that chart, which is Social Security Trust Fund runs out of money in 3034. That's a problem. It's a problem for Social Security recipients. And of all the people who noticed it, the Washington Post said the Medicare and Social Security disaster that Washington is doing nothing to fix. It's not that the think tanks don't have proposals, or that partisans on either side of the aisle can't come up with answers. It's that we've not taken action that actually could result in a solution. So I would suggest that that we find a way to actually get something done. Now, I'm pleased that my good friend Senator Graham spoke about the Trust Act and gave me some credit for that. It was introduced by myself and Senator Manchin, Republican and Democrat. Senator Warner is also on it. Your organization, sir, continues to say that it is designed to cut benefits. Why do you say that? Do you believe Senator Warner and Senator Manchin want to cut benefits?
Okay, so before he answers this question, let's just be clear what Senator Mitt Romney is saying here, or what he's asking of this individual here, Alex Lawson. And he was on the panel. Okay, so he's just going to answer the question. But we need to talk about this. And actually, this is going to take a second. So we need to talk about this. When it comes down to this, you have Senator Bernie Sanders comes up with a bill. He puts together a bill. He tells you what's in the bill. Okay, so everyone knows. They can look at it and say, okay, this is what Senator Bernie Sanders wants to do. Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. This is their plan. But then on the other side, you have Mitt Romney saying, well, I have this Trust Act. And the Trust Act is not a bill. All it is, it's a committee. It's a committee that gets together and talks about how are we going to prolong Social Security? How are we going to fix this problem? But there's no plan there. So you have on one side, you have an actual plan that they can look at and they can criticize and work on. On the other side, you don't have a plan. All you have are politicians behind closed doors talking about what they want to do. They have not opened this up to the public. We don't know what they're talking about. So that's not a balance. And that's a huge problem. And I'll give you this example and I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Let's say I want to order a pizza and there's 10 of us and we all want pizza. And I put forward, okay, you know what? I want a pepperoni pizza. That's what I really like. And then the other side, let's say Mitt Romney is a part of the people that want pizza. Mitt Romney says, well, you know what? We're never going to get pepperoni pizza. It's just not going to happen. But I will talk with some other people, a part of the 10 people. We'll talk, and then we're not going to tell you what we want right now, but we're going to talk, and then maybe later down the road, we'll let you know what we want. And so days go by, and we never hear anything about what they want. So how can I work from that? The best way to do it would be to say, okay, I want pepperoni pizza. What kind of pizza do you want? And for Mitt Romney to say, okay, well, you know what? I like sausage and mushrooms. And then for me to come back and say, okay, sausage and mushrooms on one side, pepperoni on the other. I would be willing to do just sausage. I don't want the mushroom. That's the way you get things done. So if he's talking about getting things done, Senator Romney's talking about getting things done, that's how you get things done. You don't get things done by one side they want pepperoni pizza, but then you don't tell me what you want. You just say, you know what, we're going to talk about it and then we'll get back to you. That's not how you get anything done. That just prolongs the issue. So if you want to get something done, bring it forward. Let us know what you want to do. But if you don't want to do that, then we can't move forward because you're just saying my pepperoni pizza won't go anywhere, but you're not giving me an alternative. Okay, so let's let him explain. They're going to have a dialogue back and forth.
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm basing it on, we were basically formed to fight the BS commission.
I asked a question. The question is, do you believe that Senator Warner and Senator Manchin want to cut benefits? By the way, we have 5 Democrats who signed up on the Trust Act because it does this. It says, look, let's get groups together, half Republican, half Democrats, to work together to see if they can find a solution to save Social Security. And both sides have to agree. Both sides have to agree. No, I get to decide who asks the questions to. Both sides have to agree, and in order for it to go to the floor to be voted on. So it's bipartisan. And every single person has said, under no circumstances will we cut benefits. And yet, in your documents, Your organization keeps saying that we want to cut benefits, that we're going to cut benefits in the night. Untrue. Why do you say that?
If you're not going to cut benefits, then you're going to do it all on the revenue side, which would be something that we support. But going on the history of commissions in this town, what happens when politicians get behind closed doors is they talk about things that are deeply unpopular, like cutting Social Security.
We get behind closed. We don't just meet in hearings like this. We have meetings, private meetings, all the time. We get together and discuss things all the time. We had meetings last night. We've had meetings right now on gun legislation. We had meetings last night on the Electoral Count Act. We have meetings all the time behind closed doors. We then have hearings. Then there are votes in public. So the
problem is they don't vote. That's the problem. He's talking about their votes in public. They have meetings all the time. You have all these meetings, but nothing gets done.
The idea is to have people come together, Republicans and Democrats, to see if we can find a solution. If we don't do that, we will not save Social Security. You realize you're a group dedicated to saving Social Security, but you realize that if we don't come up with a bipartisan solution, we will not save it. Do you understand that?
I recognize that the problem is the 23% benefit cut that you keep bringing up, but the solution that Republicans put forward is a 23% benefit cut. So that's not a solution. It's just the problem sooner.
Boy, that was not an answer. The Social Security Trust Fund goes away by 2034, at which point benefits are cut automatically. I'm not for that. I'm trying to keep that from happening. I don't want that to happen. But if we don't come up with a bipartisan solution, that's what will happen. That's what you're for. If you oppose bipartisanship, what solution do you have to actually solving Social Security on a bipartisan basis?
We would ask millionaires and billionaires to pay the same rate as the rest of Americans and not cut one penny of benefits.
I understand what your answer is. This is back to the think tank versus the do tank. What would you do to get bipartisanship? How are you going to get bipartisans to work together?
I would like the American people who bipartisanly, overwhelmingly don't want to see their benefits cut. I would like Republican politicians to have to answer to them about why they're...
We do every election, and the people who have elected us have said work on a bipartisan basis to find a solution. We can do that. We will do it. And I'll tell you, the disingenuous attack on Republicans is something which... By the way, just as Senator Graham said, what your approach is making it harder for us to find a solution to save Social Security. And that's something that desperately needs to be done.
Okay, so that was Senator Mitt Romney. And you saw the back and forth there. You saw at the very end there, they were talking about, he was giving a solution, which Senator Mitt Romney got really upset. The fact that he was saying, yeah, we want to raise taxes on those who are making, the millionaires and billionaires. And he got really upset with that response and said, well, you're not answering my question. But the reality is we need to know what Senator Mitt Romney wants to do. What are they talking about? Because if we can't get to there, then we're not moving forward and we are wasting time. And so we'll see what happens, what transpires from this point. But the whole notion, and this is another issue that I have, the whole notion that we need this bipartisan group. The reality is, do your job. We don't need these extra committees. They're in a committee right now. You have Democrats, you have Republicans sitting on this committee. Do your job. Talk amongst yourselves. Figure out some type of a resolution. Put something on the floor. We don't need all these different committees and commissions and all. It's not necessary. It's just extra time being wasted. You're sitting there right now. Come up with a solution. And I mean, politicians want to hide behind. A lot of politicians don't want to just come right out and say, you know what? Yeah, we're going to be cutting Social Security benefits, because ultimately that's what they're talking about. That is what they're talking about. They're talking about raising the age of Social Security, so raise it from 67 to 70. That's a talking point when it comes to Republicans and how they want to move forward with Social Security. So you're going to be telling people, you know what, you're going to need to work until you're 70 now. And of course, people are going to be upset with that. And they should be. Oh, well, people live longer now, so you can work until you're 70. That's the kind of talk that they're putting out right now. So work till you're 70, but guess what? If you make millions and billions, you're not going to have to pay anything extra. Okay, one of the biggest parts of Senator Bernie Sanders' plan is that they want right now $147,000 is the cutoff. So if you make more than $147,000, you don't have to pay that 6.2%. Okay, so everyone making less than that, they have to pay 6.2%, the payroll tax, right? And that money goes straight to Social Security. But if you make more than $147,000, you don't have to pay it. So you can make millions, billions of dollars, and you don't have to pay anything extra. So the person that makes $147,000, they pay the 6.2%, and anyone else, I don't care if you're a millionaire or billionaire, you pay the same amount as that person that makes $147,000. That's the way Social Security is right now. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. And there's a lot of revenue that's being lost because of that. And so what they're saying, what this plan that Senator Bernie Sanders wants to put forward, what he's saying is, look, if you make, and they're going to even raise it up to $250,000. So if you make $250,000 or more, you're going to continue to pay that payroll tax. And so I think it's fair, but you have people pushing against it. Senator Mitt Romney is one that's pushing against that. So he doesn't want anyone making that type of money any more than $250,000. They shouldn't be paying a payroll tax. So this is like I said, something that we're going to be following. I'm hoping that they can at least I'm hoping that I see something come from the Republicans when it comes to some type of a plan. We already know the marching orders from Minority Leader McConnell is not to put forward any type of a plan. So they don't want to have a plan for anything, but maybe we will see something. And that's what's holding everything up. Let's be honest, because if you put both plans out in front of the American people, guess what? The American people are going to decide and say, hey, you know what? I like Bernie Sanders' plan better than Mitt Romney's plan. Simple as that. And if that's the way it is, then they're going to have to go with what either Mitt Romney wants or what Senator Bernie Sanders wants. And so that's the bottom line. And I'm hoping that we'll see something, but I don't think we will. I don't think Mitt Romney will come forward with anything. I think they're going to continue to be behind closed doors. I think they're going to continue to say we're moving along, we're doing it in a bipartisan fashion, but we won't hear anything. So I want to know what you guys think about this. So let me know down below. And like I said, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and I will be putting out more clips of this hearing because there's a lot of information that was shared. And this is good because at least they're talking. I will say that, but we still need to see a plan from both sides. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.